Facing a battle you know you're not going to win, whether it be physical, mental, whatever. If you have the sack to step up for what you believe in, that's brave, man.
Hello, friends. I'm here with our piercer, Jasper, today. For those of you who have not met him, Jasper is our main piercer at Avanti. He's been piercing at our studio since December, but he has been a part of the world of piercing for 19 years as of February. So before we get to all my questions, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Where do you want me to start?
I want you to start at the beginning, Jasper. Tell me everything about you.
Okay, I was born and raised in Ohio, unfortunately. I joined the Army when I was 30 years old to get away from that place. I haven't been back since, permanently anyway. I've lived and worked pretty much all over, East Coast mostly. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, Washington, D.C. I've worked all over. I travel and do guest spots a lot, so, I learned how to do what I do in Ohio. And then I started in 2001. 2005, the shop I worked at shut down, and that's when I started traveling. Pretty much, And I joined the Army the next year. I worked at a shop the whole time I was in the Army. Never really stopped doing it, And I've worked like I said, I've worked all over New York, Las Vegas, beautiful Tigard, Oregon, yeah. And now this lockdown's got me at a standstill, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Want to go back to work.
I had to pull teeth to get you to take a day off, so I can't imagine how you were doing with 8 weeks.
I was just gonna say, Jessica, you know how I am. I work 7 days a week if I can.
I know. You work literally until you're like, I'm sick, I can't come in, and I'm like, I told you to take off.
I need a day off. I gotta sleep. You know what, Jess? I've always been like that. I've always been.
I know.
I get depressed.
You can't teach an old dog a new trick.
That's it. Oh no, not your call. Thanks.
I know you miss it.
You want to know what the worst part of it is?
What?
This lockdown, even though not working, can't get a decent haircut to save my life, man. It's horrible.
You couldn't get a decent haircut before.
I try though. I could go get one if I wanted to.
The option was there. They did fix it for you afterwards.
It took them 2 times, but they got it.
They did get it.
I tried to forget about that, Jess. I really did.
Well, it was the last time I saw you. It's grown out now.
Right? That was right before I left too, on it.
Yeah. It was like you got it literally 2 days before we shut down.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Oh.
So we've done quite a few interviews with you. We did an interview when you came to work here. Andy's done interviews with you. We did the film interviews with you. And we always ask questions. So I realized it was really hard to come up with new questions, but that's what I worked on coming up with. So I guess some of these follow-ups on the past interview that you did. For anyone who's listening, we did an interview with you and Jasper, and then Andy, Kara, and Sim. So these are some follow-up questions to that. If you guys want to check out that podcast, we'll have a link there. So my first question for you is that you said in past interviews that you never saw yourself piercing, but I'm curious as to why. So what did you see yourself doing before piercing found you? So if you were to put yourself in your shoes back then and you're like, okay, well, what am I going to do with my life?
No idea, Jess.
You just didn't know?
No idea. No, I was 24 years old, and I was in one of the worst places in the world, Sandusky, Ohio. It's so horrible. There's nothing there, except for an amusement park. Dude, I did everything you can think of. I worked in factories. I worked in loading docks. I worked in warehouses. I worked in restaurants. Tried that once. It was horrible.
I like restaurants.
Honey, well, you ran them, you know what I'm saying? You didn't work, you know.
I worked in one for 3 years.
I know. But weren't you management though?
No.
No? Oh, okay. I thought you were. I'm sorry.
No, we were talking about it, but then I came and worked here.
Good choice. But yeah, I was still in that stage of trying to figure it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I could have went to college, you know, when I got out of high school, but I decided not to. I just went right to work. I actually didn't go to college till I got out of the Army because, you know, the Army paid for it. I just didn't know, Jess. And then I was getting tattooed on Valentine's Day, 2001. And, you know, my mentor at that time didn't have a piercer, and I was friends with him. And, you know, you've heard this story, man. You know, I was sitting getting tattooed, and all these people came in wanting piercings, and he was pushing them away, saying, you know. And then just out of the blue, he was like, man, you should let me teach you to do this, man. He's like, you can make all that money, you know. You know, and he was like, you're somebody I trust. You know, like I said, we were friends. I'm still friends to this day. I saw him 2 weeks ago, you know. But yeah, when he first asked me, I told him, yeah, you're crazy, dude. No. But he kept on it, and we started that day when I was done getting tattooed.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's how it happened right there. And I took the ball and I ran with it.
Yeah.
Took the ball and ran with it. You know, when his shop closed down, I followed him to Alabama. Worked in Alabama for like 5 months in Birmingham. You know, like I said, I've been all over. You know, yeah, I like traveling more than anything, but if I can, you know, found a good shop, ready to go back, you know, stuff going.
Did it take some getting used to piercing people?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it like, especially if it's not something you're like, yeah, I've been dreaming about doing this my whole life?
Right. Yeah. The whole concept of hurting people took a minute to, you know, but eventually it just got to where I thought, like, you know, they're coming to me for this. They know what, you know, obviously they know, you know, at least somewhere in their head that this is not going to be a totally pleasant experience, but you know, the outcome is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, so
definitely overshadows the fear of it, and
for sure.
A unique perspective then, because, you know, your first interactions with piercings were like having to deal with calming people down.
Yeah.
You could do it.
And the needle's got a stigma, man. You know, it does. It you know, a needle is designed to hurt people. You know, it is what it is. You know, but like I said, man, people know what they're getting into. You know, yeah. And what they're looking for is the outcome. It's not the actual right. It's not the actual poke they're going for. Well, actually, some people do. You know,
that's true. You can't discount everybody.
Right. There's some people that like that stuff, man. And
so
I'm being honest, you know.
Yeah, it's true. There is. So was it like the first day that you're like, yeah, this is actually what I want to do with my life, or was it like a couple years?
Probably a good year or so. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to quit a lot during that first little bit. I was like, yeah, it's not for me, man.
Was it because of the hazing?
What's that, babe?
Was it because of the hazing, or was it just like the whole?
No, the hazing one wasn't bad, or well, it was bad, but that didn't bother me. I knew what was going to go on, you know, because I got friends who were tattoo artists that I was, you know, friends with them during their apprenticeship, you know, and some of them got it better than me, some of them got it worse than me, you know. But you know, I've said before that I've been through an apprenticeship like that, and I've been to old school basic, you know, Army boot camp. You know, I went to boot camp when they were still allowed to put their hands on you.
Yeah.
You know, and if I had to do one of them over again, I'd go to boot camp.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd go to boot camp. And I'll tell you why. Because the hazing during an apprenticeship like that is meant to embarrass you. But it's you know, they're testing your mettle. You know, they're trying to see if you really want to be there. And embarrassing you is a way to, you know, to see if you can take it or not. And I'd rather get beat on.
Yeah, I hate emotional torture.
Right. Yeah. I mean, not saying that the that basic training in the military doesn't try to break you mentally, because they do.
Yeah.
If they can't break you physically, they try to break you mentally. They couldn't break me mentally, so they broke me physically. No, they did. But just like we were saying before, I knew what I was getting into in both instances. I knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, man, when I went to basic training, man, it was harsh, but that was one of the best times of my life. I loved it. It was great. There's only a certain percentage of people that have ever done that. It's not, and it's way different now. These kids that are going now, they don't have to go through what we went through. It's totally different. They're not even allowed to cuss at you anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they do, but they're not, it's not, I guarantee it's not like it used to be.
That's true. My cousin went through basic for the Navy, and at the end of it, he was the healthiest I've ever seen him. Like,
oh, me too, honey. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Like, you don't look like you had a hard time. You look like you went to a very nice vacation where you got like 3 meals a day.
And I've heard that Navy basic training is worse than all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Except for Marines. Their boot camp is on a whole. It's on a whole nother level, man. Yeah.
I know some Marines. It's pretty intense.
Yes. Yeah. I almost joined the Marines too when I was trying to do my thing, man, but they wouldn't take me. I was too old.
Lame. I think they only take people who are like 21, I think is the cutoff for the Marines.
I think the Marines is 27.
Oh, okay.
The Army is 42.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it was at one point in time.
Okay.
When I joined, we were in war, right? Yeah. We were actively at war, and they were, laxing up their requirements, but the Marines didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Everywhere I went when I was in basic training, I was the oldest, soldier there. I was older than all my drill sergeants. So, but and some of them took that into consideration. Other ones, took it into consideration for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But, it was great. It was fun.
So back to piercing. What is your favorite part of the procedure? Like the whole thing?
I guess it depends on how the client is reacting. If they're scared, I love calming them down and getting them there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say that when it's done and they're happy, and they're looking in the mirror and they're just I love that.
Well, especially if they were scared.
True. Yeah. Then you get to say, hey, look, dude, you did it. Look at you. You were so freaked out, and now look at you. You got a big old smile on your face, man. You're gonna show that off to all your buddies. Too cool. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're really good at calming down. Like, you pierced my tongue twice. Mm-hmm. And I remember out of everything, I was the scaredest I've ever been. That was absolutely terrifying to me.
I couldn't tell. You were shaking a little bit. You were, I could tell you were a little, but you were hiding it well if you were freaking out.
Oh, I was freaking out. But you did a really good job at calming me down.
That's awesome. Right on.
Yeah, I was like, I went home afterwards and I was talking to my fiance and I was like, that was so scary, but Jasper really helped.
That's great, dude. Speaking of, I'm glad I got to meet him before I left, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty neat. Yeah. I didn't get to talk music with him, but maybe that day will come.
Well, yeah, eventually, this pandemic will be over and people will be back in the studio. And Sean will be my husband at that time. And
congratulations, by the way. That's awesome.
Thank you. We're excited.
Fantastic. That's great, man. Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. So I know you like traveling around to do guest spots. What makes the experience so awesome? What do you love most about it?
Different places, different people.
Okay.
That's like the biggest thing to me. I'm going to use Las Vegas as an example. And I went there twice to work for the same company, just different shops. Club Tattoo. Let's give them a shout out in Las Vegas. They are awesome people, for real. Sean Dowdle owns those places. He's a cool guy. When I went to Las Vegas, you know, I got to work in that cool shop, you know, worked on some, you know, some awesome people. And it was in Vegas, so there's, you know, melting pot, all these people, all these tourists there. I was piercing people from different countries, you know, piercing people from all over our country. It was cool, and you know, and they had a cool setup there. You know, they had various piercers there, so each piercer would work 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 hours a day. Yet you do your shift, and you were done. So I didn't work all day there, you know. So when I got done, I would go to the casinos, or I'd go walk around the strip. You know, every day I did that. It was great.
Yeah.
And, a buddy of mine that I was in the Army with, he lived in Vegas. So the second time I went there, he met up with me at the shop and took me out, and you know, we went out all night, and you know, had a good time. He showed me all the cool stuff. So
That's
pretty
fun.
neat. Right. Yeah, it was neat, man. We met up in the parking garage of the Link Casino.
Nice.
And then took off, and he showed me all the, you know, cool stuff that was like away from the strip.
Yeah.
You know, he took me to Fremont Street, took me downtown. You know, it's pretty neat. Yeah, it was awesome. But you know, other than that, I'd leave the shop, and both shops were in a casino. You know.
Yeah.
So I'd leave, and I'd go right to the roulette table, and I'd turn $20 into 100, and walk away and go have a good time.
That's fun. It's like the carnival for piercers.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
That's fun.
It was awesome.
So, you know, when you serve.
One more thing though. Let me say one more thing. And this is honest. The coolest shop and the prettiest place I've ever been is in Oregon. Absolutely. Coolest crew. Coolest. No, I'm not. I'm being honest, man. Coolest crew. Most awesome bosses. It's fantastic. The shop is beautiful. You know. Yeah, love it.
It is a very special place. That's the one thing that I've been talking about really with all of our other team members as I've been interviewing them, and really anybody who will listen to me. Right. Is I miss their customers, you know, like I really miss them coming in.
Yes, I agree 100%. Yes. Yep.
Like I've had a couple, what I've started doing is like troubleshooting piercings with them over video camera.
Okay.
And so it's been really cool to like have people, you know, come in and they're like, hey, you know, I got pierced right before the closure and I ran out of my aftercare spray, or I don't remember what the instructions are, I lost the paper, and to just go over that with them has been really cool. Awesome. And you're learning while you're doing that too, Jess. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm like, that's good. It's like a, you know, and then like I interviewed Kara, and she's been studying, and so it was fun to talk. Like she's like been studying ear stretching this entire time, and so she's got like all this information on it. It's been
love that stuff, man.
I know, she's like practicing at home.
Yeah, that's cool. Bless her heart. Cool. Well,
yeah.
Awesome.
So, you know, first I wanted to thank you for your service in the military.
Thank you, Miss Jessica. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then, you know, my question about that is, it takes a lot of care, courage, and selflessness to put your person on the line for a whole country of people you don't know. And I had some questions like what that was about, if you're okay sharing whatever you're comfortable with. But I guess the first question I had was, what did the Army teach you about life? Okay.
Do you remember when you and Tyler were interviewing me over the phone before I came?
Mm-hmm.
And I used that little saying, improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yes.
Okay, that comes from Murphy's Law, all right, which is whatever can go wrong will go wrong, right? And in the Army, that is every day, right? So when it happens, and it happens every day, you take a second, you think, you improvise, and you make it happen. Right? And that has helped me, even in piercing, man. It's you know, that attitude that I gained from the military, you know, that's helped me in everyday life. It's helped me in work. That's one thing that I will never forget that the Army gave to me. You know, it kind of changed my attitude a little bit on life. You know, because there's a time when shit goes wrong. Pardon my language. I'm sorry. When things go wrong, forget it, done, quit. You know, I don't do that no more. You know, and I was an engineer in the Army, right? And our motto was make it happen. You know, let me try was another one. Okay, to do all things well. That was another one of our mottos, right? You just make it happen. You know, if something goes wrong, fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a million ways to fix anything that's broke, if that makes sense. Right?
Yeah. I think that, like, just, you know, from running the shop here, it's definitely been, you know, my mentality, like, okay, well, that didn't work. What's next?
Exactly. What's next? You know, you can always figure something out. You know, there's really no wrong way to do things. You know, as long as, just like, okay, let's take piercing for an example on that. I don't pierce like everybody else does. I pierce like Jasper does.
Yeah.
You know, I was taught by somebody who learned in the early 90s, you know, when it was brand new and it was completely different then. And I still use some of that stuff. I use a lot of the new stuff that I've learned from where I've, you know, from all the different places I've worked, all the different piercers I've worked with, you know. So just take that for example. There's no wrong way to do it as long as the outcome, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a million ways to get to where you want to go. Just make it happen. You know, that's my outlook.
That's been one thing that I've learned talking to so many piercers over these Zoom interviews is there really is so many different approaches to things, you know, because I've asked all of them, like, okay, so, you know, what's your favorite part of the procedure? Like, where'd you learn? How long have you been doing it? And it's really interesting. And, you know, just to see how much it's changed over the years. Like, I was talking to my gal Annie a couple weeks ago, and she's been piercing about as long as you. And so I asked her, I was like, well, how has the world changed since you started piercing? And she's like, well, it's changed a lot. Like, she's like, first off, it used to be like this big chunky jewelry, and now it's dainty, bitty.
Yeah. I mean, you know, 15 years ago, dude, we'd never be pierced with these little dinky old things, man. Never. You know, and there's also a lot of techniques that we used back in the day that would not fly now at all. You know, you just can't. You know, they weren't clean. We thought they were at the time, but they weren't. You know, they were, and that right there just makes them unsafe. If it's not clean, it's not safe.
Yep.
So that, you know, but we learned. You know, we moved. You know, we improvised, we adapted, and we trucked on, man. You know.
What I thought was interesting is she talked about the culture of piercers has changed too. She said that, you know, she started piercing, like, I think it was 20 years ago.
Right.
And I think it was actually like around 1995 when I was born or something like that. And so she was
born in 95?
I was born in 95.
I graduated high school in 95. Thanks for bringing that up, Jessica. Now I feel great.
But she was telling me that when she started, it was a lot of like street fights. She's like, piercers would just like fight.
Honey. Oh man. You know, you see people coming into a tattoo shop now with attitudes.
Yeah.
And they're just asked to leave.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you came in and you were getting beat up by everybody and you were getting drug out. I've seen that happen many times. You know, I can remember a guy threatened me once because he didn't like how I was hurting his girlfriend when he was getting pierced. And I was working in an old school shop, and this was 2 years ago in Georgia. And I can remember looking at that kid like, it's the first time you've been in a tattoo shop, ain't it? And he said, yeah, what's that mean? And the tattooer's hurting, and here they come. Like, who are you talking to, dude? You know,
The tattooers.
Right, like, there's, you know, my one of my buddies was a tattooer. He's like, dude, there's you and your pal over there, dude. There's 6 of us, and here they came. That was the end of that conversation. He shut up. You know, but luckily, it didn't go no farther than that. But, you know, the kid was like 19 years old. He was young, you know, full of bravado and testosterone. You know, so. But,
You're crazy.
Right. It happens, man. My mentor told me how, how competitive it used to be back in the day. He said, he's had bricks, Molotov cocktails thrown through the windows of shops he's worked at from competitors, shops burnt down, just, he said it was, like the late 80s, early 90s, he was telling me it was like that. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
It was like gang warfare back in the day.
Well, and she started piercing around that time. So when she got out of it, they asked her to come back. She's like, no, like I'm a mom now. Like I can't go fight someone in the
but it's so different now.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think.
So, I mean, being in it now, almost 20 years later from when you started.
Things happen though sometimes where old school can come out, like when that guy was stalking Miss Gigi.
Yeah, which is an appropriate time for that to come out.
Right, and I would have got old school had I been there. Trust me. He got drugged out.
We have Jasper the bodyguard.
and I'm no tough guy by any means, but I love you guys. You mess with my girls, man, I'm gonna get creative.
Twin Sim, I'm gonna come out of left field.
Right. My buddy backed me up there, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
So, I think that you might have an interesting perspective being so many places and being a veteran. And so I was curious, circling back to the Army questions, what misconceptions do you think there are about veterans? I mean, I know you don't speak for every veteran, but in your experience, are there any misconceptions that you think just aren't founded on any truth?
One, I really don't know about misconceptions or stuff, but I will say that I've seen, a lot of people think if you've never been to battle, you're not, you don't deserve that, I've never been to battle. I never went anywhere, I was always working for a school or stuff like that, but one thing I had to do in the Army, I had the little, joke secret name that the soldiers had for it. It was called combat pallbearer. When soldiers' remains come back, they'd have a crew of people that would present their remains to the family. And I did that for a long time. And I'd rather been getting shot at. Trust me. I hate having to mention this, but I had to give a friend of mine's remains to his mother and his sister in a box about this big. It was smaller than a shoebox, and that was all they found of him. And I had to give that to his mother. And I'd rather been getting shot at. Yeah. But there's things that we do even here that are mentally taxing, man, emotionally taxing.
Well, still, my opinion on it is growing up in sports and growing up as the granddaughter of, someone in the Navy, there is, if you're on a team, it doesn't really matter if you're the person who made the goal. You're still as much a part of it as anybody else.
You were a part of the machine. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're a part of the machine. And so whether or not you were the stereotypical definition of a soldier, you're still fighting the battle.
Right.
A lot of people can sit at home and say, oh, you should do this, or you should do that, but you actually got up and did something about it.
For sure. Even though I didn't go over there, I spent a lot of my time training guys how to do what they had to do when they get over there.
Yeah, which they never could have done. Like, you saved lives by showing them the correct way to do it.
Right.
You took care of hearts, when you...
And I worked for a division of the Army called Psychological Operations.
Yeah.
That was after I was an engineer. And what we did was we put literature together to kind of try to change the enemy's mind.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah. Or we'd put literature together, to scare them, to frighten them. And you know, it's mind games is what it is, and that was a really cool thing. That was really fun.
That is super interesting, and not a lot of people talk about that either.
Right. And some of the things that we make these things called pamphlet bombs. Right, they're about the size of a milk crate, and it's 10,000 little pamphlets about yay big with messages, pictures on them. You know, try to
scare them.
Right. Like one of them, I don't know if this one got used, but one of them we put together. it said that you know how people were fighting at the time. We're predominantly Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? They got a thing against pork. You know, pit, right? And this pamphlet that was brought up, we made them. I don't know if they ever got used. They might not have. They might have. But they said that American soldiers were dipping their bullets in pig's blood.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
So it pretty much letting them know if you get shot by an American soldier, you're not going to be clean. And Allah's not going to let you in heaven. But that's dirty. That's what they call black propaganda. You know, where we were just, there wasn't nobody dipping their bullets in pig's blood.
No.
They didn't know that. You know
Yeah.
they didn't know that though. Yeah. But I highly doubt that one got used. But
that sucks. Like that's me.
Right? I got told one that did get used. This is one that one of our higher ups told us that there was a pamphlet made that said that United States Marines are not allowed to get tattoos unless they kill and eat one of their enemies. You know, and Marines, their uniform has short sleeves.
Yeah.
So if they, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, there's probably people over there thinking, man, you're all these tattoo guys, man. They're eating people. You know.
Can't hurt those Americans.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that one's actually funny. I've heard that. Right. I've heard that from Marines.
Right. But you look back, man, you look at all the propaganda that the Nazis used in World War II. It was horrible. That was all black propaganda, which is just basically lying to the public. Yeah. And then there's gray propaganda, which is twisting the truth a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And white propaganda is where you're just straight up telling the truth, trying to get somebody to believe what's right. But and we use all of them. Whichever one's going to work. And those are used to save not only our lives, but to keep our enemy from having to.
Well, yeah. Like as terrible and awful as it sounds, dipping your bullets in pig's blood, it would save someone because they wouldn't want to go into battle. If it was their spirituality, they wouldn't want to fight that. And even though it would be like a really good gut reaction to be like, oh, that's terrible, I couldn't believe, it would save someone's life.
Yeah, because that might have stopped these guys from trying to shoot at us. Because they know when they shoot at us, we're going to shoot back.
Yeah.
That's just the American way.
It's the life way, Like if someone's trying to kill you, you should stand up for yourself.
Well, in the United States, man, that can be used. That can go a different way.
Yes. Unfortunately. So I guess this would be a really good time for my next question. So I think you have an perspective on this. What does bravery mean to you?
Facing a battle you're not going to win. Whether it be physical, mental, whatever. If you have the sack to step up for what you believe in, that's brave, man.
Yeah.
Brave. I know big, tough guys that aren't brave. Bravery is a mentality. It's not a physical trait.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I would answer that one.
Yeah.
Straight to the point, pretty simple.
Well, I would define you as brave, because you faced a lot of uncertainty in your life. You have faced uncertainty with the military. You faced uncertainty with okay, I guess I'll become a piercer. You faced uncertainty when we're like, hey, you want to move to Oregon next weekend?
And what did I say?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, down. All right, I'll be there. I'm on my way right now.
Yeah, man. Just stepping up to the plate, pretty much. You know, it's not knowing the outcome. You know? That makes me think of. I don't know if this will pertain, but it makes me think of it. Do you know what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing twice and expecting a different outcome.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Good deal, Jasper. Look at you. I don't know why, but that made me think of that. You know?
Well, I think you could describe bravery. It does actually sound like insanity now, but which is interesting because I think that it's like with dating. Someone's only creepy if their advances are on like you don't want them. But
right. If it's somebody that you're attracted to, for lack of a better term, like, oh, hey, all right.
Right? It's no longer creepy. Now it's sweet and endearing. Like.
But the last guy that tried it, you're like, dude, get away from me.
You're like, oh my gosh. With bravery, you know, in uncertainty would be the same thing. Like, well, it turned out good, or it was for a good cause.
Right.
What you deem to be a good cause.
Yeah, I like that. How you put that, man. That's great.
That's interesting.
That is so true. I've never heard it put that way, but that is so true. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you reminded me when you're like insanity. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, some people would probably say it was absolutely insane that you just became a piercer.
My mother thought that. My father thought that. My dad still to this day asks me, when are you gonna stop doing that shit? When are you gonna get a real job?
It's not a phase now, Dad. It's real life.
Hey, and especially when I was working in Oregon, I was like, how much did you make last month, Dad? Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Like, I like this. This is what I do. And I know that's, well, anywhere in the creative industry, you know, there's all this stigma like, oh, in order to have a good job, it's almost like with COVID, it's like success has been flipped on its head.
Right.
You know, in order to be successful, before it was you had to have a job that has some sort of society value that is deemed appropriate by the masses. You know, like you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're, you know, you're running, for whatever reason, this never makes sense to me, but you're running like a, you know, multi-billion-dollar company, you know, like right. those are success. But
you know what? Most of those people that do those jobs, they hate getting up in the morning. They hate going. I love what I do.
Exactly. I know nurses who became nurses only because that was what was defined as success in their family, but they didn't kind of blood.
Yeah. You know? And they hate and they hate going to work.
Yeah, and they hate going to work. And you know, and here we are like poking people and creating art with strangers, really is what it is. Right. Strangers come in here, we create art together.
I get a human canvas.
Exactly, and it's so cool.
All right. I'm gonna steal that from a tattoo artist friend of mine. But you know what? I do the same thing. Seriously, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm altering their image to their liking. You know what I'm saying? I'm making them like their self a little bit more.
Which is so cool.
Right. I'm helping them decorate the walls of their temple, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it's true. Like, you know, I talked to Anastasia about this, and she's like, because I was asking her, because she's like, she had piercings before, but she's like, you know, and then she's like, well, I kind of came and worked here. I thought it'd be interesting. She's like, I've always wanted to be a creative artist, but she's like, I didn't really have the tool set or the availability to do that. And then she's here, and people come in, and she's like, it fulfills that need for me, that need to create.
And y'all are part of the process, man. You are.
Yeah.
You are. Like I said before, best crew I've ever worked with. It's fantastic.
We just all get so into it.
What's that?
We all get so into it.
Yeah. You know, I couldn't ask for better people to work with, man. Seriously.
Well, I couldn't either.
Right? It's fantastic. I get along with everybody that I work with there, and every shop I've been to, there was at least one, most time more people that I just couldn't stomach.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I try to get along with everybody, you know, but everybody don't try to get along with me. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get it. I was actually talking to my best friend the other day. I'm like, I'm not everyone's kind of person, you know. It's you know, but here
I feel you on that.
It's
you know,
our kind of people.
I know I don't think like the normal person. I don't do things a normal person does. But you know what? I'm me, and being me has kept me alive for 43 years.
It's true.
You know? So I'm going to keep on being me.
Exactly.
You know?
Or, you know, Sim says, I don't understand the point of being a person if you can't be yourself.
Dude, yeah, that's it. That's it. You know, and look at, and I'm not gonna put anybody on blast, but look how Sim is doing what he's doing to make himself him.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for that.
So much respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
talk about bravery, you know, like talk about.
Oh, shit. You have, pardon my language, you have no idea.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't. I'm like, I can't, like the amount of bravery.
The things he's facing, you know, and he's all about it. He's like, you know, he said, F it, I'm going.
Yeah.
You know, that takes testicular fortitude. Yeah, and that's
how many ways Jasper can say growed some balls.
I'm trying to be professional, man. I'm trying to get cigarettes.
I'm sorry about me.
But yeah, man, my dude is doing his thing, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't want to put him on blast, but you know, he's doing what he has to do, man. And that makes me respect him all that much more.
Yeah.
Seriously. You know. And yeah. I'm not gonna say no more. I don't want to get into his business. But
perfect.
That's it.
So one more question before I let you go about your day.
Okay.
So I'm asking everybody, what piercing are you most excited to do when this is all over?
You know that.
The conch. What? Is it not a conch?
Man. You know that's my favorite. Oh, I love conches, but septum is my go-to, man.
I was like, I feel like we'd also talked about conches before.
The conch is one of my favorite ones. The tragus is one of my top ones too. I love the tragus. I think that one looks good on everybody.
Yeah.
Seriously. The septum. And I think the reason why I like the septum so much is because it is right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like right there.
It's in your face. You know, to everybody that looks at you, it's right there. Boom.
Yeah.
And that takes a set too. It does. You know, that's a huge alteration to your identity. You know, and and I don't know why. I just love that one. I don't know. It's right there. I think it looks good on everybody.
I love my septum piercing. Anyone who comes in and wants it, I'm like, yeah. Let's do it.
I'm gonna talk Gigi into changing her jewelry one day, but you know, it still looks good on her.
Yeah.
I like the tighter jewelry on that one, man. I do. I like the small jewelry on it, but you know.
They do rock it though.
I've
always liked the stereo. You know, I've always liked the tight jewelry too, but they really rock that piece that they have.
Gigi's got that big 1/2 inch in there, man. She loves it.
Yeah.
She's like, I want a small one. I can't play with small.
On her lip though.
Right? She's like, I don't want a small one. I can't play with a small one. Like, hey, if that's what you like, man, boom. You know.
I did it tight because when I had my Filtrum, it kept snagging, and then my lip would get stuck to my nose.
Really?
I'd be like, oh no.
That had to be aggravating, honey.
It was aggravating. I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Did you take it out?
Yeah, I took it out.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
We're gonna redo that one day.
I needed you to re-pierce it for me.
We can do that. Absolutely.
When it's all over, I've created a list.
Okay. Awesome. I want to get some stuff done, man.
Well, I want to learn, so maybe I could pierce it.
There you go. There you
Perfect.
go. I would totally let you. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, you know, if I teach them, they have to pierce somebody.
It's true.
So why not?
Might as well be you.
Right. If they can do it good on me, they can do it good on anybody. Actually, if you can do it good on your teacher, you should be good. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, because I'd be nervous. I
can be more nervous to do anybody, except for, you know, I remember the first time I pierced my mentor, man, I was dying. I was shaking, you know, especially because I pierced her conch with a 6-gauge needle. You know? So, and she don't have jewelry no more. She got a big old hole in her conch, man. But yeah.
Well, any last bits of wisdom you'd like to give our guests today?
I just want to go back to work. Ask me that when I'm active.
Perfect. So the last bits of wisdom is
right.
Come in and ask Jasper yourself.
That's it. I just want to go back to work. I'm dying. This is killing me. I haven't worked in over a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I love getting to be able to hang out with my old lady. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving it. You know, we were doing long distance thing there for a while. You know, and now I'm hanging out with her every day. She's in there sleeping. She got nice. But dude, I love it. But you know, I'm thinking about taking a trip to see my boys here in the next couple of days.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Georgia maybe see my kids.
Nice. So, that'll be nice.
I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. Well, absolutely.
It was great to see you today, Jasper.
Yes, it's always a pleasure, man. You know I love you.
Yeah. Well, I love you too.
All right, I love you guys.
I'm excited to see you here soon.
Cool, man.
Talk to you later.
Jessica, be good, man. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.